right, on the back of a great weekend of streaming and spending, we are going to be doing an account review just ahead of the really great week of events we have. You know, my Zenith push that we keep talking about, Melon Market, one of the best events in the entire game, I would say, and then the anniversary event where we have a new city theme. Gold heads, can't complain about that, and huge amounts of speed ups. So today, doing that account review, let's get into it. We're going to talk about someone who's been in my streams regularly. They've been doing a great job supporting, helping me, keep going through these streams with the motivation. Love these people in the chat who participate. So, ᵀⴳJeffrey, you are a 54-day account, I believe. You can see here. We'll talk about this first. Let's begin here. First thing I'll note, AP bar full. Uh-oh. Shouldn't be full. AP bar should never be full. Not sure what happened there. Next thing, we talked about this in stream, but, you have enough gems pretty much with your bag, you said, I believe, to go VIP 10. We're about 3 weeks, so 21 days from the next More Than Gems, which means you would get 21 gold heads if you bought this now. I advise to do it. The only reason not to is if that anniversary event is a 7k gem event. That I'm not sure of. They may have released that on their live stream today, as of the time I'm filming this. So that's something to look into. Or you could just wait a day, sacrifice 1 gold head, and find out that way too. Totally up to you. Next, another thing on the screenshot, you have great resources. The stone is lacking, the gold is good for this time, but great resources overall. Love to see that. But the issue your account has is your speed ups, and that's something of note, right? You're never going to be able to use those resources with this level of speed ups. And the other thing, training speeds, that's great, it's a good number, but the thing I want to note here is make sure you plan out your healing speeds properly. You have 8 days, 14 hours. That's not bad. It's about what I'd expect probably for you. But you only have 71 days of universals. So if you use this all for research, all for building, whatever, to, let's say, use up your resources, you're going to have nothing when fighting comes. And that's a huge problem. So you want to probably leave like 25% of this off. Maybe like 25 days of the 71. And that's probably enough with your one march that I believe you're doing. We'll discuss next. But that'll scale up. So if you get, 100 days, the 25% of that type of thing. You do use a ton of speed ups in fighting. Make sure you account for that. That's the bottom line. My numbers may be a little rough around the edge, so definitely keep conservative amounts. If I say 25, keep 35 type thing. Next, let's look at those commanders. Based on what you told me, you are doing Sun as your main. I did have some issues with your gear. I don't love that you did Scarlet, Sentry, Calvin's, and Quinn. I personally subscribe to doing 4 Windswept with the Karak pants and the shield, but if you're someone who doesn't like that for some reason, maybe you don't care for the march speed, or you do another march and the march speed's too far off or something, you could do something like 3 Windswept. Let's say you do the Windswept boots, hand, and helmet, and then you keep your Quinn soul, and then you do Karak. Don't know how to pronounce that, but the health pants for infantry. That wouldn't be a bad idea, and then obviously keep the shield. But I think Quinn's is a little bit of a tough call. I probably wouldn't have done this, but you seem to have already done it, right? So you've committed. It's just a lot of materials and stuff. I think the Windswept one is also attack, so it's not like you're sacrificing something massive. But it could be dangerous because if you get Karak, you may not be able to get the equipment in time. You also probably spent, like 5 million gold on this, so that hurts. Calvin's hand isn't the worst choice, but it isn't worth it because this slot for Windswept is health. So this is just a worst item, especially because that would have given you 2-piece to have attack. It's a worse item. And then Scarlet Hounds, I understand why you did this. 4% health sounds better than, I think the boots are defense, 2.5% defense, right? But I think, again, that march speed cannot be underrated for a 1 marcher. So that's, in my opinion, again, I like Windswept, and then you get the pants. Level 53, that's not bad at all for your account age. I don't think you guys even have the temple yet, so plenty of time left to get to level 60. And then, some other issues arise. We talked about doing Sun Martel, but your Martel is only a 5-1-1-1. That's a little bit dicey. I think that you need to get the 5-5-1-1 before you can really use it. But you'll have to wait and see. I know you sent another photo in there where you show off that you only have 20 gold heads, right? And that's kind of a concern. I think we also discussed your MGE, and if you can push MGE to get some of his heads, get him 5-5-1-1, Sun Martel is a totally valid thing. But I think for most ball fights, you want Sun Ethel, which will bring us to my other issue with you, which is you did this, 2-4-2. So what I assume happened is you try to random gen it to get 115 essentially, or whatever the equivalent is, right? You want it to get the max XP probably. Very reasonable. But I think there's a huge issue now for you if you can't get this to 5 before fighting. This is going to be a really big nerf for you. So what I would try to do now is just focus all you can into the first skill, this Arrow of Iron skill. Okay, I'm glad I looked at this. This is not the right decision at all. You should be getting this first. Then you should be, or sorry, that's not even correct myself. You should be getting this first. It costs 3 fewer action points for barbs. And then you get Trophy Hunter. This is not really someone you're going to use as primary. I don't know exactly what the plan was here, but maybe you just saw the 42%, so you did that. I would definitely respec her into a Peacekeeper. And, you know, you're using Sun primary anyways. We've already discussed that. So Sun Aethel, reset that into being your best Peacekeeper. And I think you're golden, right? So overall, you know, you have great resources. You're a low spender with up to, you know, 10 euros. Your power is pretty low, but again, that's something that I think is happening because of your low speed ups. I think you just haven't really pushed. You haven't really chained clearly. Your AP is full, so you're not maximizing your AP usage, which is a big problem. And I will factor that into how I rate this account, even considering it's a free-to-play account. You know, you have some decent AP. It looks like you're starting to save. Your XP is not quite there, but your materials still not too bad, actually, considering all the stuff you've crafted. I won't be reviewing the kingdom because there's too many factors in looking at that. But I think overall, considering your gear set, which isn't bad, I'm not going to dock you for that. Considering your skills and whatnot, especially with Aethel, VIP is not bad. I like where you're at for that. Your troops are actually in a half decent spot. You can start upgrading these pretty soon, and you'll be in a definitely not a bad spot. Let me just look at that one more time to figure out. So your hospital capacity is actually quite low. I would definitely keep that in mind, that going into KVK you'll want to raise this. So what do I rate your account, right? What do I think your account is? Nice priceless platinum there. I think that overall your account has some great things. I think there's some inherent issues in how you've set things up, just clearly because you didn't know, and that's totally fine, right? It's good that you have China though. That's a good sign. But what would I do for you? I would tell you to change up your gear a little bit, perhaps. Maybe not. Maybe it's too expensive. For now, I would leave it maybe at pass 4 opening. What is it called? Pass 6? Pass 7? I don't know. When you open to start war in KVK 1 is when I would reevaluate your gear. I would do your VIP 10 now. I would start chaining. That's really, unless you're spending money, which you're not spending much. But there's no way that you're going to have enough speed ups with where you're at currently. Maybe if you could get into a slightly higher alliance, because I believe you're in the top 3. So if you could possibly get to your top 1, that would be really important and impactful for you. I do know, I think you're in leadership, right? So that's kind of a pickle. Yeah, here you are. So I understand that puts you in a little bit of a hard place, but I would definitely recommend doing that, you know, getting into leadership. In maybe they need a slot for events or something, and you could fill in a hole in the main kingdom alliance, right? Because do you even know if they're going to KVK? I'm not sure. So these are just important things to consider. But overall, considering your account, I think I have to rate it we'll say a 6.5. And why am I being overall critical and giving you a pretty low score for a $0 to $10 spender? Because I have some really big concerns that you're not putting quite in the work, honestly, that a $0 to $10 spender requires. Your AP being full is a huge issue. You know, your speed ups are a little low, but yeah, I mean, you cannot have a full AP bar. I don't love what you did with Aethel. I think you should have went to 5 first before trying to random it. That's what I did, and even then I still wasn't successful. And you can see I locked this out, so I'm doing it like that. But yeah, I think it's really important to get your 5 first and then move on for this. So with that said, I hope you enjoyed this video. Leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe if you're not already. You know, I would love to do more of these. This is my first one of a new kingdom character, especially one who's not a whale. So definitely message me in game if you want. Right, this is my ID. If you want to get a review yourself, you can see we've entered matchmaking for this, which just is useless. Well, we know who we're fighting. And this week's gonna have a lot of cool stuff at Zenith, so definitely stay tuned. Definitely stay tuned for some guides I hope to be posting on this. And yeah, so I will see you tomorrow or soon for the next video.